High School in Manila. Teacher Imelda said they will impose contactless tracing on top of the minimum health protocols.
Magmula po sa gate, kung mapapansin ninyo kanina, pagpasok ninyo, meron po tayong QR code. Kasi po we encourage contactless tracing, tapos lahat po contactless. So, meron po tayong QR code dyan, meron po tayong Stay Safe app, para po pagpasok ng mga bata, we know their condition.
There are signages for social distancing. Inside the classrooms, there are acrylic partitions as part of the precautionary measures against COVID-19. The Education Department says this can be removed should students have a hard time with it.
Based sa report, yung mga bata medyo hindi na nila makita yung blackboard kapag nandun sila sa bandang likod dahil doon sa plastic barriers. Dito sa NCR po, hindi na natin i-require yung plastic barrier. Pero po may nakita tayo nung nag-ikot tayo na mayroon pa rin dahil ito daw ay request ng mga magulang.
The school also designated an isolation room for those who will manifest COVID-19 symptoms. Those who are symptomatic and have been exposed to a COVID-positive individual will be tested.
Yung kasalukuyan pong policy ngayon ng Department of yung DepEd sa DOH po, dalawa lang po ang magiging basihan ng pagsasubject natin sa mga bata ng testing. No?
But the Alliance of Concerned Teachers is calling for regular testing among teachers and students. They also urge the DepEd to deploy at least one healthcare worker in each school.
Nire-reiterate pa rin natin yung ating mga demands para matiyak yung tuloy-tuloy na operasyon ng mga eskwelahan na ito. Una, yung pagkakonduct ng testing sa ating mga mag-aaral at mga teachers weekly. This is the best way for us to determine kung may COVID-19 infection sa hanay ng ating mga guro at mga estudyante at maagapan kung meron man ito. So far, ito yung missing.
But even with the protocols in place, many parents still worry about the safety of their children.
Natatakot din po, pero syempre po kailangan sundin pa rin po yung mga protocol. Sana po magkaroon na po ng injection muna para sa mga 11 years old pa baba para po mas maganda yung face-to-face na pag-aaral nila.
For News 5, Faith Del Mundo, we are One News.
The Health Department is monitoring over 250 individuals who arrived in the country from South Africa. 165 of them have been tested. 80 others are in contact with the government, while 8 have yet to be located. The agency says they're still consolidating data, backtracing, and awaiting data from the Bureau of Quarantine. But Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergere says the Philippines is still considered Omicron-free at the moment.
Minomonitor natin ang sitwasyon. Wala naman ho tayo nakikitaan ng mga lugar sa ating bansa ngayon na merong biglang pagtaas ng mga kaso o nagka-cluster ng infections because that can be one of the determinant kung sakasakali na nakapasok na itong Omicron variant.
Meanwhile, the Foreign Affairs Department says nearly 100 Filipinos are currently stranded in Europe and Africa. Foreign Affairs Undersecretary Sara Lu Ariola says they will be mounting repatriation flights from the Netherlands and South Africa. She thus urges Filipinos abroad to contact embassies if they want to be repatriated.
Please contact our embassies and consulates kung kayo po ay stranded para matulungan po namin kayo. We stand ready, yung DFA po, handa po lahat ng post natin kahit saan.
The OCTA research now considers Metro Manila as very low risk for COVID-19. In an interview with us yesterday, OCTA's Guido David explained that NCR's daily attack rate has dropped to below 1. That's on top of the region's hospital utilization rate dropping to about 25%. David added that Metro Manila has never experienced this kind of incident rate since the start of the pandemic.
We're now down to an average of about 450 cases per day in the whole country, and just 120 cases per day in the NCR. This is much lower than the plateauing that happened last year, and we can attribute this definitely to the increased vaccination, but we can also attribute this to the continued compliance with minimum public health standards.
The Commission on Elections says the latest petition lodged against the candidacy of Bongbong Marcos will undergo the usual process like the ones that came before it. But Partido Federal ng Pilipinas shrugs off the petition, calling it black propaganda. Gerard de la Peña with a report.
Presidential aspirant Bongbong Marcos may end up running as an independent candidate. That's according to COMELEC. Spokesperson James Jimenez said this will be the case if the Commission rules in favor of the petition to declare Marcos' CONA as null, in light of the disqualification case filed by Abubakar Mangelen. This will still undergo the usual process, just like other petitions filed before the COMELEC.
Magkakaroon tayo ng summons, magkakaroon ng opportunity to answer, and then preliminary conference, etc. Pero wala pang nangyayari sa ngayon.
National Commission on Muslim Filipinos Commissioner Mangelen also claims to be the sitting chairman of Partido Federal ng Pilipinas. This is why Mangelen questioned Marcos' PDP chairmanship as he did not sign the CONA, and he is also not a member of the party. For its part, the PFP regional chairpersons call the petition as black propaganda and a publicity stunt. They claim that the petitioners know that Marcos is unbeatable in the upcoming elections. PFP Secretary General Thompson Lanchon said Mangelen is no longer the chairman of the party since last September. However, the COMELEC said that Lanchon's statement will not be used for the petition.
Whatever anyone else says, right, if they're not part of this case, then doesn't really matter. The partido, which is not part of this sagutan between them, says, ay hindi na namin tao yan si Mangelen. It's irrelevant to this case.
This will only be used by Marcos against the petition. If COMELEC decides to disqualify Marcos, PFP can still file a substitute until the day of the elections. But it should still be a Marcos, following the Omnibus Election Code. The camp of Bongbong Marcos said they are ready to answer Mangelen's petition. They said that there is nothing wrong with the PFP's decision to declare Marcos as their standard bearer.
No one was ousted or there was no hostile takeover of the party. There is nothing irregular with what transpired during the party convention. So I do not know where the guy is coming from, but when you look at the allegations contained in the petition, it's all the same.
Marcos' camp also answered the certification, which showed that the presidential candidate did not pay the fines for his tax case conviction.
We have complied and we are very confident with our answer as submitted before the Commission on Election. Now, if they have other issue or matter that they would like the COMELEC to take up, then it is within their legal right to do so. But we have complied.
For News 5, Gerard de la Peña, We Are One News.
Here's an update on our 2022 presidential candidates. Vice President Leni Robredo visited Iloilo over the weekend, where she led the inauguration of her campaign headquarters in the area. She and her running mate, Senator Kiko Pangilinan, also met with head pastors of Madurao Town, who held an interfaith prayer with them. And Robredo also went to an outreach program helmed by her supporters for pedicab drivers in Leganes. Meanwhile, Manila Mayor Isko Moreno was at Cebu yesterday, where he talked with the employees of Cebu Safari and their dependents. Moreno promised that if he wins, he will focus on the tourism sector, as well as infrastructure and telecommunications. And Senator Bongo was in Davao City, where he reaffirmed his presidential race exit. However, Go has still not filed the withdrawal of his candidacy, and he says he can only do so when his supporters stop rallying at the COMELEC office. Go also remained mum on who he will support for the 2022 elections, but reiterated that he will support whoever President Duterte endorses. Samantha Panlilio says she's heartbroken after failing to make it to the top 20 of Miss Grand International 2021. In an Instagram post, Panlilio said that she did her best to represent the Philippines in the Thailand-based pageant. She also thanked everyone who supported her journey. Meanwhile, some Filipino netizens did not take Samantha's loss lightly. Over the weekend, the hashtag #DropMGI trended online, as pageant fans believe that Binibining Pilipinas should drop its Miss Grand International franchise after Samantha's supposedly unfair loss. And that's how the day is shaping up to be. Join us again later at 9 a.m. as we monitor the day's biggest stories from sunrise to sundown. You can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Register for a free account at www.signalplay.com so you can stream One News live anytime and anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We're One News.